Hello brew tubers. So the Citra and Mosaic Amber Ale has finished fermenting now, and I've transferred it into kegs. If you remember back to the brew day video, I used two different yeast strains to ferment the beer with. So one lot got Fermentis US-05 and the other lot got Mangrove Jack's Liberty Bell Ale yeast. So yes, so both finished fermenting, and here they are. So this is US-05 and that is the Liberty Bell Ale yeast. On camera I think they look fairly similar, however I would say the US-05 is slightly clearer and this is slightly hazier. But other than that, they look fairly similar. So they are the same beer, just different yeast. So aroma wise, they're again very similar. I'd probably say the US-05 has a slightly stronger aroma, but there's nothing in it really. Now this, so the original gravity for both was 1.048. The US-05 finished at 1.013, making it 4.6%. This finished at 1.019, making it 3.8%. So a big difference in the finishing ABVs, finishing gravities. And it has made a difference to the flavour of the beer, admittedly. So we'll go with the US-05 first. That one tastes very orangey. Very orangey. Very clean tasting as well. But definitely that has an overwhelming orange flavour to it. You know, it's almost like drinking orange juice or eating a slice of orange. The Liberty Bell is different. There's a slightly creamier, obviously definitely sweeter because it's finished at high gravity. This tastes a little bit like a milkshake IPA, but not quite. It's not an IPA at all, but very low hopping amounts. But although this sounds almost heretical, that's the word I'm looking for, I don't think you need to use a large amount of hops to get a hoppy beer. You just need to use them sensibly and wisely. This is very hoppy flavoured beer, as is, and it's not got that much hops. I think it's 100 grams for, or 110 grams for 40 litres. So compared to some of the Nipas and Deepas and God knows what else you get, very low hoppage amounts, but again lots of hop flavour. So take your own judgment from that. But yes, this definitely isn't as orangey as the US-05 version. It's certainly got a creamier, maltier taste to it. Possibly slightly smoother as well. Remember, these are just fermenter samples, but that's very pleasant. And so it does taste orangey, but this tastes very orangey. I'd say this one has a slightly more bitter flavour to it as well, because obviously it's not as sweet as this one, but it's not overly bitter. The question is though, which one do I prefer? and obviously which one am I going to sell and keep as the yeast strain for this beer? That's a very difficult question. They're both nice beers, but they're both slightly different, but are good as well. What am I leaning towards? It's a very difficult question. I think it's going to take a little bit longer to decide on this one. As I said, they're both very tasty, but they're, you know, that stronger, cleaner, and a lot sort of more bold orange flavour. This is obviously weaker, but it's sweeter, smoother, and has a slightly more rounded feel. This is obviously very, very hop forward, this one. And this one's sort of slightly more, and got slight hints of malt to it as well. It's a tough one. It's a very tough one. I don't think I'll be able to answer it today, but yeah. It's interesting though. It's quite good fun experimenting with different yeast strains. As I said, I've done it with the Citra and Olicana Pale Ale. I used my usual SO4 for one batch, and I used I think it's called US West Coast for the other batch. The US West Coast didn't do well. I think it was an old yeast strain, so switch the fan heater off. I think it was an old yeast strain, so it didn't turn out too well. So yes, I'm going for the SO4 for that batch of beer, and yeah, I mean, I did use an old strain of that Liberty Bell yeast. I mean, it's fermented very nicely, but the question is, would a fresh packet of yeast be different to an older packet of yeast in terms of obviously the flavour it produces? So I may have to brew this one again. Anyway, that's for another day. I'll probably do this again soon. I do have a big bag of mild ale malt I need to use up, so I'm planning on doing some sort of mild next, or use a mild ale malt for perhaps a Victorian recipe. I'm also expecting some hops to be delivered, so I've brought a bag of a Red X malt, a German malt, which makes red beers, obviously. So yes, making a smash beer using that red malt and a hop variety from France called Barbe Rouge. It's a hop I wanted to brew for ages. I think Leeds, one of the Leeds breweries, or a brewery in Leeds, did a beer, a saison I think it was, with this Barbe Rouge, and it was amazing. So Barbe Rouge has a slightly strawberry cherry hop flavour to it, so it's more about the red fruits. So I think pairing that with a red malt base would make an incredible beer. So yes, I've got the malt ready to go, but the hops I've had to import from Belgium, and obviously because of Brexit, delivery is taking a long time, so I'm just waiting for that to arrive from Belgium, and yeah, so when that's done, I'll be brewing that, and I reckon that's going to be a cracking beer. Really do think that's going to be good. This is like the beer I want to brew. I wanted to brew this with this hop for years, but I've just never been able to get hold of it because, as I said, it's an experiment hop, very young, and say from France, and it's not mainstream yet. But it's from what I've had so far, it's bloody brilliant. So yeah, look forward to trying that. But yes, that's it. Video over. So yes, I've got a decision to make. Do I go for the weaker but more rounded beer, or do I go for the stronger, cleaner, hop-forward beer? One's orangey, one's orangey and malty. It's a tough question, but we'll think about it. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you again soon, I am sure. Cheery bye.